Welcome back to my channel. If you are new to channel, please do subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon to get early notifications about the upcoming videos. So let's start with solving some question from previous concept. Then we will move to our today's topic. Here is our first question. The type of tissues based on whether the cells can divide or not. So as we studied earlier that there are two types of the tissues based on the divisibility. Like those cells which can divide are known as mesosomatic tissue, and those cells which are incapable of division, they are known as the permanent tissues. Now see the second question. It is saying to match the following is their correct functions. So here you can see the apical meristem, intercalary meristem and the lateral meristem, and along with some they are randomly arranged functions. So apical meristem is having the function of growth, and the intercalary meristem is responsible for elongation of shoot and the root, and the lateral meristem is responsible for increase in girth. So this is all about some questions. So let's move to next slide. See, this was the experimental setup in our last class. We watched the video of this experiment whether we recognized meristematic tissues and then learned about the types of the meristematic tissues, which are the apical, intercalary and the lateral meristem cells, and their nature and the characteristics. We also studied about these characteristics. Now see, this is an dicot plant, an apple tree. See, it is have three different parts like leaf, fruit and stem. All are having different functions as well as having different physical nature also. As we can observe that leaf is having very smooth surface, they are flexible, but we can't eat it, the leaf. However, we can eat the fruit, and the stem part is almost woody in nature. Our today's topic is simple permanent tissue. Here under permanent tissue, we can divide permanent tissue in two types on the basis of number of tissues composed of. If single type of tissue, then it will be come under simple permanent tissue. If it is composed of two or more than two types, it will fall under compound permanent tissue. Now simple types are protective and the supporting type. And you can see in the complex permanent tissue, they are the conducting tissues. They help in conduction of food and the water. So in this video, we will talk about only permanent tissue, and we will discuss parenchyma cells and the collenchyma in the detail. However, we will see the sclerenchyma in our upcoming videos. Now first let's discuss the characteristics of the permanent tissues. So they are having the definite shape, size and the functions. They can be living or the dead cells. They may have thin or the thick cell walls. Now let's have a question. Which of following is base of division of the permanent tissues? So option A is intercellular space, similarity or difference in cells of tissue, ability to divide, or the none of the above. If you know the answer, write it down in the comment section. Let's start with parenchyma cells. So the word parenchyma comes from Greek word mean para means beside and the enchyma which means infilling. It is giving the feeling making sense of beside feeling means it is serving as a ground tissue. That's why they are also known as the ground tissue. Now see, this is an example where the parenchyma cells can be found. In the case of apple, as we know, we are taking the apple for getting energy. It means they are serving as a storage cell. Now, in the case of flower, we know that the honeybee is collecting the nectar from the flowers. It means they are also having the stored food. And as we all know that the potato is having large amount of the stored starch. So these are the serving as the storage cells. There is some of diagrams showing parenchyma tissue indicating presence of intercellular spaces between cells of the parenchyma. In first one, we can see this is in a lengthwise, means the longitudinal section of the parenchyma tissue, and B is cross section. And here I have also mentioned an YouTube video. If you don't know about the cross sections, you can watch it. Now, there are some of the characteristics of the parenchyma cell. First, we can observe here that there is the space between these cells, means they are having intercellular space is present in the case of parenchyma cells. Now, see, these are the living cells and shape will be the rounded due to the turgidity. These cells are isodiametric, means if you are taking the radius from here, then the radius will be the same in all the directions. It means their diameter is same in all the directions. These cells are having thin cell wall enclosing the dense cytoplasm with a small nucleus and a large central vacuole for the performing the storage function. Let's see the occurrence. So these tissue, the parenchyma tissue, will be found in soft parts of the plants such as cortex of roots, ground tissue in the stem, and the mesophyll of the leaves. So we can say that these are will be found in the stems, roots, leaves, flowers, and the fruits. Now let's check the progress. So here I am having a question saying which of following is a characteristic of parenchyma tissue. So options are rectangular shape, no intercellular spaces, large central vacuole, or thick cell wall. So one of these is a correct one. So only one option is the correct. If you got the answer, write it down in the comment section. You might have observed this kind of situation where wind blows and some of the leaves detaches from the plant while some does not detach at all. Do you think that they are having some glue-like substance at the end of the leaves which helps them in staying attached? So yes, there is a tissue named collenchyma. Let's see, the origin of word is from the Greek word Greek word cola. It means blue, and another is enchuma. Enchuma means infusion. It means blue infusion. Here we can observe the section. The transverse section is there, in which we can observe the difference from the parenchyma cells. Here we can see there is no intercellular space is present, no intercellular space, and we can also observe the thickening of the cell walls. Like there are the deposition of the cellulose at the corners of the cell. If we talk about the characteristics of collenchyma cells, so these are also living cells, and they are having thick corners which provides irregular cell wall deposition. It means they are having the irregular thickening, and it is due to deposition of the cellulose. However, other characteristics are similar to the parenchyma cells. Now let's see where this type of tissues occurs. So this type of tissues occurs in petioles and in the midribs. Mostly these type of tissues can be found in the young plants of dicot stems. It will be found in the dicot plants in the early stage. Now, see, I am having another question which is saying which of following is correct about collenchyma cells? Options are having cellulose deposition at corners, irregular thickened cell walls, dead cells, or intercellular space is present. So, observe all the options carefully and give the answers in the chat box or in the comment section. So now we can quickly recapitulate all the points. Like the permanent tissues can be divided in the simple and the complex permanent tissues based on similarity in the cells of their tissues. Okay. Now see, simple permanent tissues are consisting three types of cells. We discussed only two types of cells, and we will discuss one another type in our next video. Now see, parenchyma tissues are also known as ground tissues. Okay, see, the cellulose is deposited at the corners of cells of which type of tissue? Yeah, so the collenchyma. So this is all about our today's class. So let's meet in our next video. So if you want to check your progress, this is homework for you. You can take a screenshot or stop the video and you can go through these questions.